Hey guys, and welcome back. I hope everyone's had an amazing week. I am so pumped that this week I get to take you with me to one of my favorite vacation destinations in the entire world, and that is Broken Bow. It has gained some national attention recently. Like Airbnb listed it as the #2 short stay vacation destination in the entire country. And people go up in droves every single week. It's literally a 12-month rental market and all the cabins are booked. And for good reason. It is absolutely beautiful. So last week, I got to go out during a morning sunrise and shoot along the lake's edge at Broken Bow. And I ended up doing some long exposure shots. So I want to take you behind the scenes with me and share some of the things that I did to get this amazing shot of Broken Bow on a long exposure. And hopefully some tips that will encourage you to try some long exposure photography. So let's go to Broken Bow. So I just arrived in Broken Bow at one of my favorite places. This is Crystal Point, and I'm going to just look around for a composition. This morning to the east we have patchy clouds, and to the north we've got a clearing, so some neat color up in that area. So for starters, I'm just going to walk around and see if I can find something interesting to put in the foreground. I thought about maybe using this old snag, this old tree here. I think it's really bizarre that there's a blue rubber glove on this one. So if I shoot that, that will have to go. But that's pretty cool. I kind of like the colors that I'm getting here. Kind of previewing a composition that can be kind of interesting. I want to walk over here. I don't want to spend too much time because I want to get started shooting. Got here as early as I could. I've always loved this little sycamore over here too. And I've shot here multiple times. Wow, it's amazing how much more color there is to the north. Yeah, I've shot this tree several times, different conditions, but I think I'm feeling more like shooting that old snag this morning. I'm going to keep an eye on that north clearing though, just in case. the lighting gets more colorful over there. But I think I'm gonna try to shoot somewhere around that old snag. I kind of like the color over there. Check out this scene. I'm really low to the rocks. Got kind of a nice line leading towards that beautiful distant gap in those mountains over there. This is sort of the way the Broken Bow Lake goes north. It sort of weaves around those islands and goes to the north. I've got some nice light cutting through some mist and fog in the distance, and I'm working on a really long exposure here with the waves crashing on these rocks, and I'm hoping to get a little bit of the reflection of the clouds on the water. Waiting to see how that's going to turn out. I really love the colors here though. This is awesome. What a morning. I'm just going to pan a little bit so you can see how pretty this scene is looking out over these rocks. That's kind of more the angle that I'm getting from the camera. But I'm really just experimenting with long exposure, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I think this is something I'll do more of this year. So I really love how that one came out. So what I think I'll do now is just rotate the camera just a little bit. And I'm going to try to put together a pano. So I'm going to start another exposure, 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the Pluto trigger, and we'll see how this one comes out. Oh, the lighting is just getting incredible out here. Now, I'll have to admit, I have not done a lot with long exposure photography, but it's something that I am really intrigued by, and after doing this shoot at Broken Bow, I am now hooked, officially hooked. So let me just show you what I used in order to pull this off. I have a Breakthrough Photography 10-stop ND filter, and this thing is about as dark, I would imagine, as like a welder's mask. You hold this thing up and you can hardly even see through it. But that's what you need in order to make your exposure long enough to make the water sort of become a bit of a mist when you have all that light coming through. So the first thing that I would do if I'm shooting water is I would have my circular polarizer on the camera, which will twist, and I can actually use this to find the peak polarization of the water, and then I can dial it further back or all the way up to kind of see through some of the water. Now the challenge with this sort of threaded type filter is once I get that polarizer set, I have to thread on this 10-stop neutral density filter too, which means I have to hold my thumb on the camera because I don't want to change where the polarization is, and then I have to thread this filter on top of it. Now, I'm not really worried about vignetting on this lens, but I am worried about spinning my polarizer out of position, because once this is on, it's going to be super hard to then go back and set your polarization because it's just so dark. This is actually a step-up ring. This is an 82 millimeter filter, and so, or it's a 72 millimeter filter. I'll get it right in a minute. It's a 77 millimeter filter. That's what most of my Nikon lenses natively take. And this is a 72 millimeter flange on this 24-70 f4 lens that came with my Z7. So I've got a step-up ring, and by virtue of that, it actually doesn't vignette because these filters are much wider than the native filter ring flange. So that's actually working in my favor on this. And I do like this system, and I do like the Breakthrough Photography filters. They don't give me much color cast, and they're a really good quality filter. But recently I got this kit with case filters, and I'll show you my circular polarizer. And what I really like about the case filters is that they're magnetic. So I will probably upgrade my filters to these magnetic ones. because then once I actually have my polarizer set, all I would have to do is take that neutral density filter and just magnetically attach it, and it wouldn't have to thread on. I wouldn't have to worry about moving the polarizer at all. So I'm really intrigued by these magnetic filters. They're super high quality. This is just a polarizer, but the very next one that I'm going to order is the 82 millimeter in the 10 stop and the 6 stop ND. So let's take a look real quick at this image that I got in Broken Bow. A lot of comments on it. It's not an image that a lot of people see very often of Broken Bow. We've seen a lot of sunrises, and we've seen great clouds and things, but this was just a look that I felt is a little bit unique for Broken Bow. And what I love about it is the juxtaposition of those very sharp and jagged rocks against this sort of ethereal, misty, soft, almost foggy water. So one thing that I'll point out too is the movement in the clouds. You can see how it was a windy morning, which actually did give me a lot of personality with those rocks. But one thing that it did too is that it gave me these sort of streaky clouds where you can actually see the movement in the direction that the clouds were going. So in the future, something I may even try to do is a little bit of a composite where I'll shoot the long exposure, get all of the personality that I want out of that water and the rocks, and then I may just remove the 10 stop ND, take that thing completely off, and shoot another shot of the clouds with a much shorter shutter speed to sort of freeze those clouds. And if you don't move the camera, if it's locked off on a tripod, then you can actually go back in post and blend the still clouds with the long exposure in the foreground. So I think you can have a ton of fun with long exposures as soon as you pick up one of these. You can get them in a 4 stop, a 3 stop, 6, 8, 10, and this is a 10, and I found that I was using about a 2 minute to 3 minute exposure with this thing to get that shot. And so it just gives you so much creativity to explore and do awesome things with your photography. So pick up a 10 stop ND and go out with your camera and lock that thing down on a tripod and see what you can get. It's a really, really cool addition to your kit. And the first image that I shot, I ended up not really liking it as much. I tried to shoot this sycamore tree and then replace the background around it because I wanted the tree to be totally still, and I just realized that there is so much cloning and having to go in between the leaves and meticulously, clone out the clouds in between there and cut out the tree and go back in and make sure that there's not little pieces of leaves that are sneaking off because the wind was blowing the tree so hard. It was a very, very complex thing to do. And I really don't even think the end result was that awesome. It's like, cool, it's a alright shot, but was it really worth the trouble of going through and trying to composite that one together? I don't think so. By far my favorite shot of the day was the one down by the rocks, and I think what I learned there is that for this type of shot, getting closer to the movement of the water is what really creates your drama. So I think getting low, getting down close to the water where it's whipping over the rocks, I think that's really where the long exposure stuff is cool for me. I would be intrigued to see kind of what I could do with some waterfalls like this as well. And I can only imagine how cool would it be if you actually got to a place where there was some fog and some mist moving along anyway. So I think a long exposure there would just be fantastic. I cannot wait to get back out and shoot some more long exposure, and I think I know exactly where I'm going to go. So I absolutely could not resist. After shooting all of that video footage and getting my long exposure shots, I buzzed out to that little island and kind of made it the focus of one of my shots from the air. And I looked and watched the waves, how they sort of wrapped around it, and I didn't want to be too high. I wanted to be able to see some of the detail of the rocks and the trees on that little island. And so I snapped this shot from my drone from about maybe 200 feet high. So hopefully that's helped you. And if you have gotten anything from this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and sharing it with your friends. That helps me grow my channel and helps me create more content, and hopefully at some point, hopefully I can even monetize this channel. And speaking of monetizing, I want to share something else. I, with a business partner, have been developing this product over the last year and a half. And I am so pleased to announce that Cryo Bars is now official. It is a real legitimate product, and by the time you watch this video, my website will be ready to accept orders. I have these sitting in a warehouse ready to get, and I'll have to say it's absolutely amazing. As a photographer, as a DP shooting videos, I've been struggling to look for the perfect snack that would keep me going out in the field, out on excursions, and I used to make brownies and all sorts of little nut bars. My wife made me some nut and seed bars that I carried with me for a while. And then I kind of got into the keto diet, and I could not find a legitimate keto bar that either tasted good or wasn't full of garbage. So some of them that tasted good, they had crappy ingredients, like they would have cashews or soy oil or soy protein and things in them that were just garbage ingredients. Or if they had pretty clean ingredients, they tasted like cardboard. So I worked with Cannon, and he was also struggling to find a snack that he could eat too. We wanted something that was healthy that would also taste good. So this was made for just tossing in a camera bag, taking with you on an excursion. It's got healthy fats and protein, and it's pretty satiating. It actually will keep you on that trail for a lot longer if you have to stay out and miss dinner or miss a meal. It's awesome. And the name Cryo Bars is because I kind of like cold desserts, and I'm one of those people that prefer the pumpkin pie if I was going to eat it to be cold versus hot. I just like cold things. So we wanted Cryo Bars to be formulated so that they wouldn't get rock hard if you toss them in the fridge. So personally, I like to put these in the fridge. This one's cold. I'm probably going to eat it in a few minutes, and it's just so refreshing. So I would appreciate it if you would try Cryo Bars. Go to cryobars.com, and this is what you'll get: a box of 12. And these things are delicious, if I have to say so myself. I may be a little bit biased, but anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this long exposure set and this introduction of a new product. Hey, you don't get to do that every day. So thanks for watching. I hope you all have an amazing and blessed week, and may you get out and explore God's creation with childlike wonder. It's a massively awesome, beautiful world for us to explore, and I hope that you have a chance to go, like I did, to Broken Bow. You guys have an excellent week, and I'll see you again on the next video. And if you happen to miss one of my last videos, here come the links to those right now.